as you can see, that secretary desk with hutch is now in the hallway. It's got a big ribbon tied around it to keep the door from flapping when I moved it. I moved it out of the Floss Palace because this room is moving. I should say everything in it is moving, including those things. We are going to trade it for Ryan's room with the big window. So this is Ryan's office. It used to be a shared office. You guys might recognize the stuff in the corner there. So when I was first filming Flosstubes, I filmed in here, and then eventually I moved all of my items into that other room, which is also a guest bedroom. All of that is coming in here. I'm so excited I get the big window, but this means that I have to move all of Ryan's stuff, including this huge, ridiculous sim setup. So I thought I'd show you guys before and after, a few videos in between. We'll see how it goes. Okay, end of day one, or at least for now, because I'm hungry and tired. I pulled a lot of things out. I pulled everything out of my closet. You can see some things are still left in here, and started moving Ryan's things in. We've got his sim set up here. That was really heavy. Random canvases I need to get rid of. And if we go in this other room, it is a disaster area, but believe it or not, it's better. So I got most of the things off the wall. Like I say, I'm tired, I'm hungry. I want to be done for now. This place is a wreck, and unfortunately, lots of crap left on the wall from all those command stickums. I'm not pleased. And they left a bunch on these closet doors, which if I sand it off, then I have to paint the closet doors. Hopefully I can figure out a way to get that crap off the closet doors without sanding. Anyway, big window will be mine soon. Just gotta keep on plugging away. Okay, I am partway through day 2, and right now Ryan's office is looking like more of the mess. But that is because, look at this. That's the only thing left in here, a pile of posters. So I'm gonna pop that over to the other room, and then in about an hour, I've got a carpet cleaning guy coming, and I am so excited. Yes, we'll have clean carpets, because in moving Ryan's things, I found some curious stains. And then this stuff eventually will be taken off of this wall, and I'm actually gonna mount them in this closet. So I can still utilize it, but it won't be out, because this room, in addition to being the new Floss Palace, also has to serve as a guest bedroom. So anyway, I'm very excited. I bet the carpets, you know, it's not the most spectacular carpet in the world, but I think it's just gonna feel so much nicer when it's freshly cleaned. And while he's at it, he's doing the living room as well. So I'm excited for that. All right, talk to you later. Carpet cleaners have come, and you can see the funky pattern on the carpet now. So it has been cleaned, has had a good long time to dry. So I'm gonna finish up the work that I need to do in here before I get around to painting. Have to take that stuff off the wall still, have to fill in holes and clean the baseboards and tape around all the edges and everything. So hopefully tomorrow I will start priming. Well, it took a couple hours, but I cleaned all the baseboards, and I took the last remaining items off the wall, spackled, filled all of the holes. There were so many holes. I should have taken a picture when all that stuff was still pink. And then I taped, and taping is my absolutely most hated part of finishing painting a room, and it's all done. So tomorrow I will go out and buy primer and paint and all the accessories, and get started on that. And I think I will have a completed, ready to move in Floss Palace by the end of the weekend. Probably hard to tell, but I've started priming the walls. I had forgotten I needed to sand all, you know, the holes that I had filled with spackle. I had to sand all that stuff off. But got the, you know, got the edges and stuff painted with the brush and started priming. Got this wall done and this section here. I'm gonna have to go in and actually paint this area of the closet as well, just because there were some weird stains, Ryan. It's like, what does he do in here? I don't know. So making my way around to these other walls, and I should have a nicely primed room in just another hour or two. Before I get this final wall painted, I wanted to take a short video to show you guys the difference between the primer white and the color I've chosen. This is Valspar Coconut Milk. That is the color, and I'm using a Valspar paint base as well. And I think it looks lovely with all this light coming in. And you know what? It's even an overcast day, and it's still so much brighter in this room than it was in the other. Everything is painted. It's all done. I just got done painting the closet doors because, as I said, we had some command strips up there holding posters of Ryan's, and they left these yellow stains that I could not get off. So I had to paint the doors, which was not super fun, but they look good. Just used a Valspar Ultra White for that. Didn't even have it tinted or anything. And I got all the tape off around the room, and I just need to clean up and then move in my stuff. Months after beginning work and filming those initial videos, I am finally ready to show you guys the finished Floss Palace. So we're gonna start here in the little hallway between Ryan's office and the Floss Palace. I figured I'd highlight the few things that are hung up out here. There we go, got a nice focus on that. This is, Maker and Mender by Brenda Gervais with the needle and thread. I stitched this a couple years ago and had it framed by Lisa at L&M Framing. And then there's the bathroom door. Right across from the bathroom, I have these two pieces hanging here. These are the two charts that come as a duo by 1897 Schoolhouse Samplers, Kathleen Reese. And I stitched them on 46 count porcelain from Roxy Floss Co. with all the Roxy Floss Co. threads. Here we go, one of my favorite finished pieces. This is the Rose and the Giant Pear. And I know a lot of people are like, really? You stitched it twice and you're considering stitching it a third time? What's wrong with you? But I love it, I love it. If it'll focus here. Okay. And then here is the room. So as I have mentioned before, this room is my Floss Palace. It's my crafting room, my room to do what I want with, but also has to serve as a guest bedroom. So I'll take you over here. Now I'll tell you, this desk is a lot cleaner than it usually is. It's a lot neater than it usually is. I'm not dirty per se, but this is much neater. But I did just film my previous Flosstube yesterday, clean the tabletop, kind of organize things after I finished packing everything away. And now in preparation for this little video, I've sort of tidied up again. So I have my focus whips, I guess, out. I've got Elizabeth Dinsdale and then various flosses and things. As you can see. This is my Velky Pataki stand. I do use that quite a bit. I am right-handed. I stitch with my right hand and hold my hoop with my left hand. And oftentimes my left wrist will get sore, it'll get tired. So I need to switch and put the hoop in this little stand here, and it's been a great purchase, very helpful. You'll see that it's sitting on a silicone iron mat. That's something that my mom bought me, and I never actually used it to its real purpose. But I realized that my little stand here can get a little wiggly on this acrylic desktop, And I thought, you know what would be perfect? And it has been perfect. It keeps steady, stable, and keeps my stand from moving around. Here I have a nice big lamp. I bought this lamp a while ago. I really just like the color and I like the size of it, but it has proven very useful in holding things as well. So holds hoops and floss and whatever else, and needle minders. And I've got a little quilt rack here. This is an antique that I found at a local antique store, and I think it's really fun. It kind of reminds me of the coat rack from Beauty and the Beast. You know, can you imagine like a little guy with his arms up and his legs out? I think that's so cute. So I will take you around here. Now it's kind of hard to see the lighting here, but I got these curtains in kind of an antique gold color, and I was a little unsure of it, but I think it matches this bedding just perfectly. This bedding is from Pottery Barn. I purchased it recently, so if you like it, I think just head on to potterybarn.com and search Greenwood. I believe if you search that, all one word, you'll find it. I like Rococo and Baroque painting, and this really reminded me of paintings by Boucher and Fragonard, so I just had to have it. Here we've got 3 samplers up on the wall. The top right is a Stitch in Time. That is a Hands Across the Sea sampler. It's exclusive to a Stitch in Time shop in Hobart, Tasmania. The one on the bottom right is Elizabeth Wood, also a Hats. And this bigger one is Carmel Azzopardi, also by Hats. I just like having all those red samplers put together. Got a big blank wall here that will need something in the future. Come around here. Here is one of the most amazing things I've ever found at an antique store. This chair, I found it for $45. $45. I was in Wisconsin. It was kind of a work trip but we had Ryan. It wasn't just me and Ryan. We had the kids. Ryan's dad was there with the RV and everything, because he was doing some on-track activity as well. And I found this in an antique store in Plymouth, Wisconsin. I was like, I don't know how, but we got to get this thing home, and we did. And you can see I've got some lovely Stitch Folk bags sitting there. These are filled with ongoing whips, things that I've worked on recently and will pull out again soon. I have found a really cool magazine rack that would be perfect for holding project bags, kind of storing them upright. So I may treat myself to that pretty soon. And then as we move up this wall, you see a familiar sampler. This is Anne Ogston, Hands Across the Sea samplers. This is now available, but I think you can still only purchase it through the Friends of Hands Across the Sea Samplers Facebook group. Although I expect Nicola to put it on her website for general sale sometime later this year, maybe next year, I don't know. But if you really want it, there's a way to get it. And then if we go all the way up here, we've got this beautiful cuckoo clock. And you hear a horn outside. I don't know who's honking. But this cuckoo clock, I just love it. My mother purchased it for me for Christmas of last year, and I just got it up recently. I think I was a little intimidated. Really wanted to find the perfect place for it. Plus, the chains are very long. It has to go nearly to the ceiling, but it is beautiful. And in just a few minutes, the little birdie will pop out and say hi. So we're gonna move over here to this corner here. I love this corner. This is Marie Louise Puree, and I stitched this. This is a 46 count fabric. Stitch it with all the called 403s in a beautiful kind of rusticy looking frame from L&M Framing. This is another Hats chart. This is Fannie Wilson. I just think the blue in this, the sort of aqua blue, and the dusty aqua blue in this is really pulled out by this beautiful cabinet. This cabinet is something that I found at the same aforementioned antique store here in Indianapolis, and this was such a bargain. It was less than $250, and it just happened that our car was in the shop, our sedan was in the shop, and the loaner car that I got was a big SUV, and I was like, you know what? I can get this home. So with the help of two guys who worked at the antique store, I was able to get it into that SUV. How in the heck I got it out of the SUV and into my home by myself, I have no idea. But I did. So we're gonna go through the cabinet here. Okay. This is Elizabeth Hibbert. Strawberry that I made from a Mary Jo Heine kit. That's an old postcard that I found in an antique store in Le Mans. And look at what it does. That is so cool. I love that. Big spool. This is Cuckoo Sampler by Heart and Hand. Oh, another strawberry I made. Three Littles from Hats. That's from Parish Farm Girl on Etsy. I love her pieces. She does amazing embroidery work. These little mice are Romeo and Juliet from Just Nan. That red piece is out of the Keeper of the Pins book by Brenda Gervais. It's Hilda Viner, that's by Hats. This is a piece, this is a Hats chart that I got in a Facebook group because I was attending a retreat that Nicola was teaching at, so I got that. An old photograph I bought in an antique store in Le Mans. That's a needle book that I made from a Mary Jo Heine ribbon embroidery kit. The front that you see, all those materials were from her kit, but then the rest I provided and made a needle book. This is another piece from Parish Farm Girl. As you can see, just her bees and her flowers are so beautiful. This pomegranate I bought in Athens. Pomegranates are a sign of good luck and prosperity and very significant at the new year. And I just loved it. So had to have it. And it was like $15. It was so expensive to get to Athens, but once we were there, we really found it hard to spend money. Everything was so cheap. This is another piece out of the Keeper of the Pins book. This is the primer from the Elizabeth Dinsdale booklet from Hats. Maggie Burridge from Hats. This is a reproduction that I did based on an antique that I have. And Faye Rigsby finished these littles. My friend Vashti finished all these Keeper of the Pins. This is from a Mary Jo Heine kit. This piece of embroidery here, it's machine embroidery, but it says Audrey. That's from Vashti as well. Oh, let's see. Little Saju thread winder. This is a piece, also Brenda Gervais from Keeper of the Pins, but that's something that my son Morris did a couple years ago, and then my mom finished it into a pillow. Okay, Sarah J. Jones. That is a yet to be released piece from Hands Across the Sea. These little funny hedgehoggy guys, my mother-in-law gave those to me. Parish Farm Girl, can you tell that I love her? That piece in the back there, that's a card that was given to me by Mary Jo Heine, and then I've got some other cards from friends, stitchy friends, that I keep back there. Oh, we missed him. But you heard him pop out. Okay, this is Marta Kauser. This comes in the same booklet as Maggie Burridge there. It's just a cabinet full of goodness. So just love it. Just love it. And then in here, I keep various bits and bobs. I've got stickers and extra needles and floss drops and all sorts of things. That's a stack of charts from the All Things Bright and Beautiful box. That's my date book. I keep track of what I'm working on, what I've started and finished and all that jazz, and people's birthdays and addresses and everything like that. This little piece here in the corner, I found in an antique shop in the UP, and I didn't get it, but I mentioned that I like it, and then my mom went ahead and bought it for me, so thanks, Mom. But I can just open it up. It's doesn't have anything but the little baggy buttons that came with it, but it seems like it would be good for storing yarn and other big chunky things, like not little things that would get lost in the bottom there, but yeah. And then as this is a secretary desk, this folds up. I've got 3 drawers here. The top drawer is my Flosstube drawer. So everything that I want to talk about on my next video, I go ahead and pop in there. And then once I've talked about it, if I'm done with it, then I put it away. And then the middle drawer is whips. And because I can't have, 20 project bags out because I don't have anywhere to put them. But the middle bag is whips. And then the bottom, middle drawer is whips. Bottom drawer is charts that I finished with. So I recently sent a couple care packages to some stitchy friends, and I sent them things that I wanted to send them, but then I also went through there and was like, well, what am I willing to part with? So, but yeah, this is the Floss Palace, and that is where I record, right there, with the big blank wall on the back. So I've had a couple people like, why do you not have any stitching behind you? Because you've finished so much. But honestly, it's because I'm picky about where things go. And as much as I would like to have a beautiful backdrop, I don't want to just put a strange cluster of pieces right there just to have a nice background on my videos. Okay, here is my closet. I do hang all my linen. Now, I just recorded a Flosstube video yesterday and had some new linen purchases that I shared with you guys. I have not yet ironed and hung it up, so it's just there in a pile. But for the most part, except for things that I've already pulled that are earmarked for specific projects, everything that I have is here. And then in this Alpha stand, this drawer unit that I got at the Container Store, I have tons of charts and things. The top basket here, this is all Hands Across the Sea samplers. Now you'll see a couple pieces of fabric in here that are not hung. That's because they've been pulled for something specific. This I talked about on my video yesterday. That's going to be for Amelia Brown. This is very likely going to be for our good friend Harriet Goddard right here. Got some threads pulled, this and that. This next drawer, Shakespeare's Peddler and Scarlet House. I have this piece of fabric here because it's a very small piece and it's really going to be for that and maybe 1 or 2 other things. And then various other items down below. Got a stack of project bags. There is something in all of those. I get a lot of questions about how I store my 103s. I have these bins here. These are Art Bin, A-R-T-B-I-N. That's all one word, and you can search for them on Amazon, or I think Michael's or other craft stores may have something like them. I have a good supply of 103s and four boxes. 4 of these seems to hold everything. I have a wool ironing mat in the back there. I do use that quite a bit. I recently got a question about how I get my creases out of all of my pieces when I show them on Flosstube. And honestly, I just missed my pieces with this. I use a clean spray bottle, and I put bottled drinking water in here. I don't use tap water, and that's what I missed my pieces with. And then put a hot iron on it. Here I've got sets of 103s that are for specific projects. That little bin there is all Swass Your Fiend. You see I've got a couple extra pieces of fabric there. I've got hoop, fancy floss. These pants hangers from the Container Store, that's what I use for hanging my linen. And then here I've got some other fancy floss. And then this is all my Roxy Floss Co. floss hanging there. Up above on the shelf, I've got some extra packing materials there. I've got some quilting fabric that I have no business hoarding. This bin here is actually Morris's stuff, his stitching stuff, and when he feels so inclined, he asks to get it down and dig through his goodies. He really likes shopping for cross-stitch stuff, and he doesn't always remember how much he likes the actual stitching. This box is full of these small Hands Across the Sea samplers charts. That's full of Plum Street, Brenda Gervais, other things like that. There aren't a ton of charts in that one, but there are quite a few in that one. This is more quilting and wool applique, you can see. And then this box here is full of brand new Mill Hill kits. So you may know that I have stitched a lot of Mill Hill kits, specifically Christmas ornaments for our tree, and I do love them. So I have quite a few. And then in the back there on the other side, you'll see I've got polyfill and some other things. All right. But I hope you enjoyed this tour of the Floss Palace. Oh, and I very much approve anybody taking that name for their own craft room. Call it the Floss Palace, call it whatever you like. Ryan is very proud of coining that term. So he's happy when he hears that it may be catching on. But anyway, thanks for coming along with me. I'll talk to you guys later.